Good afternoon, everybody. This isn't really my usual time of being live, but I'm really excited that I have the opportunity to be here and spend a little bit of time with us and jump off and carry on with the rest of my day. I don't get to have days off often, so when I do, I max it out. I do everything that I need to get done, and then I get back into the swing of things. I hope that people can hear me. Hello, Oliver, how are you doing? I hope you're fine. I hope you're doing good. Hello, Miss Ajua Tete, how are you doing? I hope you're fine. Good afternoon, everybody. This morning, I was busy getting on with my life, hustle and bustle, and one of my dearest sisters sent me a video that actually touched me on so many levels. That's why I turned on this video and my camera to talk about this very issue. We've talked about it quite a few times, but it had to be said again. Kirk Franklin is somebody that I grew up loving because his gospel music really touched a nerve on a whole different level. And there was an aunt of mine who would share his music with me, send me all the DVDs and everything of his music. As he released more music, I'd get it firsthand back in Ghana from her. And she's passed. She's not here anymore. So hearing the name Kirk Franklin triggers me on different levels because then I go back to think about her and the relationship we had before she went to be with the Lord. And then now this happening to Kirk Franklin now. And it's just really sad on several levels. Hello, Mr. Christy. How are you doing? Onyeje, I hope I'm saying your names right. Good afternoon. So what has happened is that Kirk Franklin was born and given up in adoption by his parents. I guess the father never even knew he existed. The mom had had a relationship with him in the past and they'd broken up, and she never, I guess, realized that he had gotten her pregnant, or whether she knew and concealed it. I don't know. But Kirk Franklin was given up in adoption. His adoptive parents took care of him, and he spent so many years being upset because the man he came to know as his adopted father also abandoned him. And so growing up, he had to grow up without a dad. The mom, don't forget, the parents had given him up, or the mom had given him up in adoption, right? And it's been a difficult experience for this young man, and he's grown up always knowing his adoptive dad, who abandoned him, by the way, to be his dad. And because of the abandonment issues, as he went into the word and the gospel and started doing gospel music, becoming a pastor and all of that, he had to make his peace with that and come to a place of forgiving his dad, the dad that he had been told, the fake dad, if you like. They had adopted him and abandoned him. He had to forgive that dad. And he went on to have some kind of a relationship with this man before he died. So Kirk Franklin has been walking around on the surface of this planet thinking that he had a dad who gave up on him, adopted him and gave up on him, and now he's passed on. So he had to forgive that dad before the dad died. As the years have gone by, Kirk Franklin has won how many Grammys? 19 and counting. So of course, when people who are adopted go on to become successful people, the people that give up on them, they always come back. So the mom is in his life now. And there was a funeral, a family funeral, where a man shows up as a family member and he doesn't really understand what's going on. But the long and short of it was that they decide to do a DNA test. Kirk Franklin and this new man who had come to this family funeral. And now it's turning out that the DNA result says 99.9999, however many nines you want to put behind the 99 and the .% chance that this new man that has come to light is Kirk Franklin's real dad. So the man that he had grown up thinking was his dad and abandoned him, and he had all these hatred and unforgiveness and bitterness thoughts, was not the dad. And now he's finding out who his real dad is at 53. Now, the ironic and the most heartbreaking part of this whole thing is that up till today, as we're speaking, Kirk Franklin's mom is continuing to lie that this man that has been tested with his son, proving 99.99% that this man is the father. The mom is saying it is not possible that the biological dad, that the DNA test is proving to be the dad, is not the dad. So the mom has lied to Kirk Franklin twice, because the first dad that was the fake dad was not the dad. He's died. Kirk Franklin has tried to make his peace with that. Now the new dad that has come on the block is the real dad, and the mom is still saying it's not the dad. Unless you've really known somebody or been through situations where you've grown up without parents, or you've been adopted by parents that abandoned you, or you've gone through situations that you needn't have gone through if you really had your own parents that gave birth to you, that loved you, you can't understand the pain that this man must be going through on a whole different level. Because if you listen to his story and the things that he talks about, and the music, the lyrics of the music, you would find out that Kirk Franklin has been in pain on so many different levels that you can't begin to verbalize or put into words. And for me, that's what really makes his music really resonate with me. It touches you on a whole completely different level, because, you know, your story becomes authentic. Because when you've been through the thing and you felt all the emotions and the feelings that are associated with a particular way of living, or a particular situation, when you talk about it, as you talk about it with the same words, it will have a different connotation and a level of effect than somebody who is just being theoretical and just saying something. And so for me, Kirk Franklin's music really resonated with me as a young teenager growing up, because the music had this weight about it, that it touched you in a whole different level, because this is somebody that understands what it means to not be loved, understands what it means to be abandoned by the people that are supposed to love you the most, and teach you how it is that you're supposed to love other people. Because he talks about how he has struggled to even learn to love his own mom, his own wife, how to love his children, because he was never loved. So how do you love somebody? How do you love your own offspring when you never grew up knowing what a love from a father or a mother to a child actually means? That is the question, my darling. That is the $1 million question. And to me, looking at her demeanor and all of that, my conclusion is that she's not well. There's something that she's trying to conceal with everything that she's got, that it doesn't make any sense. A few months ago, we're all here when Yvonne Nelson wrote her book, I Am Not Yvonne Nelson. And we were all up in arms about what the mom had done. But instead of all of us focusing on this young girl's grief and pain, we were all focusing on this person that slept with her, blah, 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 blah. And she still doesn't know who her dad really is. And that is hurtful. So somebody like Yvonne Nelson can really understand what Kirk Franklin is going through, because the two of them are going through the same level of pain. Kirk had the opportunity to put things right with that dad that Yvonne didn't really have the opportunity to. She hated on the wrong person. Do you know what that really does to your head and your psychic as a person when you've been put through this emotional roller coaster from the age of 5 to 53 and you're still going through it? And the people that were present, I don't blame the dad too much, because he didn't even know that he existed, that the woman got pregnant whilst they were together. None of that. She concealed all of that information from him. the one thing that was sobering for me is that when Kirk went to this man's house and showed the DNA results to him, he broke down and wept and embraced his son for the first time and apologized and said, "I'm so sorry, son. I didn't know." And I really pray that after 53 years, whatever time his dad's got left, they can make amends and enjoy the fatherly son type of love that he's wanted all his life and been deprived of by his mom. And I really hope that whatever it is that is worrying the mom can also process that. And she's still lying. Like, it's like she's in a state of denial. Even after doing this DNA test twice and having the same results, sitting at the table with her and giving her the results twice, she's still saying, no, it's not possible. This man cannot possibly be your dad. The $1 million question is what my sister Tanya just asked. Why? And we all don't know the answer to that. But the reason why I switched on my camera today, again, is that a lot of the times when people get into romantic relationships and things, you are trying to satisfy your need, your desire, whatever it is, but you're forgetting that once you become parents, it's no longer about you anymore, but that offspring that you've brought into the world that never asked to be born, that has been given birth to. And all the things that you put them through emotionally, psychologically, and mentally, if you don't do it right. If you're not prepared to be parent, don't throw all caution in the wind and just, because you have an itch that needs to be scratched, so let's just have some fun. And don't take the necessary precautions to make sure that if I'm not ready to be parent, then I'm just either going to just avoid this whole thing in the first place. Or if I'm going to play in muddy water, then at least put the right appropriate clothing on so that your face doesn't get muddy. Kirk has been through so much and is still going through so much. Just trying to process and deal with everything that he's dealing with. To be able to be the right kind of father to his own children. And the right kind of husband to his wife. Can you imagine all the bleeding that has taken place on a poor woman called a wife? Because Kirk is hurting. Kirk doesn't know how to relate to other humans, how to express emotion, how to love, because all his life has just been hustling to survive. I have relatives in my own family that have faced abandonment, grief, loss of a parent, all of that, and they struggle so much. To even have a hug, it's claustrophobic for some of them. It's like, it's too much. I can't take this. Because they never felt that kind of love before. From a parent to a child, that your mom will hold you and give you a hug and tell you it's going to be fine. From a father to a son, that a father is going to speak to a son, if you do this, that, and that, this is what is going to happen. Don't do it this way. Do something different so that you can have different outcomes. And paternity fraud is the worst possible thing that any parent can do to their children. I don't know why. I really don't know why. But you look at Kirk, you look at the father, replica. And the bond of love was just so palpable from the two of them. Mom is still standing on the sidelines with her arms folded and still in denial, still repeating the lie from the pit of hell that this child is not this man's son. And this can't be right. It's not true. This is some conspiracy and she has to get to the bottom of it. Yada, yada, yada. And this man is continuing to grieve. But I saw this video and there's so many people up in hands and people judging him. How can you be a man of, purports to be a man of God and not forgive your mom? Blah, 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 blah. Talk is cheap, sometimes. Talk is cheap when you haven't been the one that has had to face the said situation. Put yourself in Kirk's shoes for a minute and think about it. How would you feel as a 5-year-old that your parents are literally saying, we don't want you? Because that's how it feels. Abandoned by your own biological parents, given up in adoption. Or your mom giving you up in adoption because the father didn't know he existed. Giving him up in adoption. Adoptive parents come in. Adopted dad doesn't show him no love. Another level of abandonment. And he has to process all of these to become a young man and resent a particular person so much. Thinking that how can my own father do this to me? Only to find that this man was never my dad in the first place. And that my real dad just lived streets away from me this whole time. That my son, my child, actually goes to a place that is literally a footstool, a walking stretch from this man's house that I call dad all these years. And it takes me 53 years to find out who my actual dad is. What if Kirk had passed on? He would have never known who his dad is. And the whole time, his actual dad would have just been next door. Literally, blocks away from him, where he's raising his own family and still not know that he had a dad. A real, actual, biological dad that would have loved him and nurtured him and given him all that he needed. He would have had a relationship to learn how to be a human being that existed. You know, the foundational love that we get from parents and immediate family, that's what gives us grounding. That's how we learn how to love other people, how to express love, how to be there in the moment. When you're having to learn this thing second and third hand, some people never learn it. And this is how come we have lots of men and women today that are stone cold, ain't got no emotions because they don't know how to process emotions. And then you unfortunately go and pick somebody off the streets like that to call a husband or a wife. And now you're dealing with people that are not emotionally available, have all kinds of attachment or, disattachment issues. And you cannot understand. Yet all of this stems from the things that we do. The decisions that we make, the choices that we have made as people to satisfy our own desires and then bring forth innocent young children that never asked to be born in the first place. But we make decisions that affect them and take them into places that they never should have been at. I am personally so happy that Kirk has a relationship, personal relationship with his higher source, God. Because if it teaches you that even when everybody else turns their back on you, at least you have a heavenly Father that loves you. And even with that, the struggle is real. He is crying. He is upset. And when he's given the news, he's saying, so my mom lied to me yet again? The first words that come out of his mouth. How can my mom, my own mom, do this to me? How? And she's still denying it till today. So the $1 million question is why? Why? What is she concealing? What is she hiding? Why? Why? And now trying to figure out how do you even unpack all of this and move on with your life and be that sane person that can be an available, emotionally present parent to your own children. It is so hard to fix broken people. Sometimes it's literally impossible. I know I've had a broken person around me in my immediate circles, and so I know what it is. that brokenness, that feeling of not belonging, not having no validation, is what leads a lot of people to seek this sort of love from the wrong places and end up in places that they should have never been at. Some people can't hack the pain, so they're into alcohol and drugs of all sorts, and they do all kinds of things that you and I will sit here and talk about without understanding the enormity of the pain that these people are dealing with on a regular basis. There is nothing worse to be on this planet and feel that you're not loved, you're not wanted, there's no validation, you are nobody. And there's so many people sleeping on the streets with that very feeling. Not because they don't have parents. Some of them actually have parents that are very well off. Sleeping on the street is not what they deserve. Some of them have parents that live in mansions. They will never have to work another day in their life, but the pain of resentment and rejection is so bad that they'll much rather sleep outside with a total stranger that will give them a hug and a cuddle and tell them it's going to be fine, than to live with parents in a mansion that are stone cold and don't show no emotion. I know that there's so many people that are hurting. So many people that are hurting. And maybe you're one of them. And you're listening to this story and it's drawing up and, welling up emotions inside of you because you can relate to what he's going through. But if you don't offload this burden, honey, you're going to carry it for your whole life. That's pain. It can actually end your life. Sadly, the person that I knew who felt this very same thing that he's going through, it's not even here today to tell the story. The pain was just too much. They didn't want to be here anymore. Life had dealt them some really bad hands, and so they just decided they couldn't do it anymore. And they took themselves out. We're hearing so many people that are into opioid. There's a whole opioid crisis here in North America, and people are talking about it and talking about it. But these are the things that are feeding that. Make time for your children. Make time for them. You chose to have them, to spend time with them and raise a family. Having a child is not some kind of Gucci handbag that you can have so that everybody sees you have the Prada, the Gucci, the Fendi, the Louis Vuitton and all of that. Having a child is a real sacrifice. If you're not prepared for that level of sacrificial work, please don't have no children. Don't. I've met people who have meddled in murky waters and gotten pregnant and just wanted to give their children up because they're just not ready for the responsibility that comes with it. Well, then just don't do it in the first place. Don't bake no bacon or no cakes, no patties, nothing in the oven if you're not prepared to eat it. Please don't. Because the pain, the confusion, everything that causes, you can't repair it a lot of times. So when you're seeing a lot of people out there that can't show emotion, can't express themselves, especially men, and in our community we're taught, we've held our men spellbound that they're not even allowed to show emotion. Crying is a sign of weakness. So there's so many young men, older men even, holding on to so much inside, bottling it all in there. One day it explodes. And that's why we're having all the issues that we're having in our community. People that are so secretive, don't talk about anything. You can't express emotion. Mental health doesn't exist. It's unreal. It's people who are wussies that talk about mental breakdown and all the likes of those things. It's why we are the generation that we are today. And things are only getting worse because the teenagers of today don't feel like there's any way of even having a relationship with the parents. The parents are so disorientated that they can't even understand their own children. and the pain that they're feeling. Children are feeling unwanted because they go to school and they're bullied for the way they look. Big nose, flat nose, their hair is kinky like mine. They don't look nice. Their color is this. They have a big butt, and everybody is trying to define what a human being should actually look like, forgetting that diversity is a part of life. This is how I look. Somebody else looks completely different. My Caucasian brothers and sisters look completely different. Different features, different everything. This is my African black nose, and I love it just the way it is. But society is trying to tell you, no, it has to be this way. You have to be slim. You can't be a bigger boned person. You can't be big. You have to be that. You can't be too small. You have to be this and that and the other. And it's all stemming from not being able to have the grounding from the basics. When the foundation is weak, how can the superstructure stand? Please, if you're not prepared to be a present parent, keep your legs closed. If you can't keep it closed, find solution. Don't bake no pastries in the bun. No cupcakes, no nothing. And bring forth children that grow up becoming a shell of themselves because they never felt the love that they ought to have felt from parents that were supposed to love them. I really pray that Kirk can get the healing and support that he needs to continue to do the things that he does and bless the lives that need blessing from the gift that God has given him, the ministry that he has. I pray that the mom can find the help that she needs before her time runs out, because she's not young. If Kirk is 53, she must be well into her 70s, if not more. And I really pray that now that he has been able to reconcile with the dad, that they can catch up on the last 53 years of his life and however many years the dad had, and really make something of whatever is left of either one or both of their lives. Make memories that they can cherish in their hearts for a lifetime. My people, trying to create these kinds of situations and then expect people to heal from it is selfishness. Don't do it. If you're looking for somebody that you can speak to on a personal level and deal with what kind of issue, whatever kind of emotional issue you want to talk about, sometimes a problem shared is a problem halved. Therapy has helped me in ways that I can't even begin to express my own self, because we're all broken people. That's the truth that we don't want to admit to. Go to www.sikaeducates.com. Book yourself a session and come and let's talk. A lot of people rubbish, oh, what is therapy going to do for me? This is just a bunch of woozes. You go and sit there and tell somebody else your problem. Yeah. But you're sitting there and your problem is driving you bonkers and making you do things that you're not supposed to be doing. Getting or trying to seek love from people who don't even care a hoot about you. And you're surprised at the outcomes that you're getting from these relationships that you're seeking out there and not finding anything from them. Honey, it's time to offload your burden. It's time. You can't carry this cross and burden of yours into perpetuity. Make a choice and a decision. I'll put the link to the website on there for those of you who are interested in saving yourself the grief and the hassle of all this pain that you're dealing with. But I really, really hope, I can't wait for us to continue this conversation, because one of my sisters will be here on Sunday and we're really going to delve into this because it hurts on so many levels. It's so painful. Lying to your son or daughter and trying to mess about with their mind, it's not funny. There's nothing cool about it. Even if the father was, I don't know, a pervert, whatever, tell him, tell her, Let her process that herself. No matter how evil it will. It's better for somebody to know who their parents are than to not know. And spend their whole lifetime trying to second guess. It might be this, it might be that, it may be this person, this, that, and the other. It's not fair. It really isn't. I'm blessed to know who my parents are and be able to spend the last 40, however many years, experiencing true love from them, talking to them every day. I can't begin to imagine what it must be like for him. Who do you go to? There's not a day that passes where I don't talk to them. Every day we talk. So I can't imagine life without them. I really feel for Kirk today and anybody else going through this kind of thing. It's so painful. I'm going to leave this video here before I start getting too emotional because it's just so upsetting. So sad that he's dealing with all of this and he doesn't even have no basis, like nobody to really hold him. 53 years of a bridge with the dad. Finally. But there's so much to unpack in this time. How much time do they have left to make up for lost time? How do you make your peace with the past and focus on the future? It's a long road to recovering. And some people sadly just can't do it. So please, let's not even create the problem in the first place. Not to talk about how to fix it. We don't want to become mechanics that are constantly fixing other people's vehicles and making other people better. We want people who are healed and whole so that they're available to experience and enjoy life and be dated and loved and get married and live happily ever after. Not to become a mechanic shop. There's always fitting broken down vehicles, punctured tires, oil that needs changing, windscreen that is broken, engine that's failed. And this is all stemming from us humans and the choices and decisions that we make and not wanting to take responsibility for them. Even if she was raped, whatever it is, why can't she just say it? What is with this secret and hiding and hurting everybody in your path because of it? May the heavens bless us all and give us the ability to realize and recognize that the things that we do, the choices we make, the decisions that we make today is what affects people. It's what makes people become the people they become. And we shouldn't be surprised that there's so many broken people all over the place that are bleeding on people that never caused the cut in the first place. I love you all so much. Have a happy Friday, and I'll see you again very soon. Ponder over this and think about how best you can love your children. Be there for them. Talk to them. And let them open up themselves to you in ways that would blow your mind. Because I promise you, you don't know your children. You don't. You think you do, but you don't. If you really come down to their level, they will tell you things that may make you cry yourself. God richly bless you. Take care of yourself. I love you lots. Happy Friday and have a fabulous, fabulous weekend. Bye.